Hello, my darlings. It is Khandie. It is I. Welcome to another episode of The Loud Lens, the no BS, no gatekeeping, telling you how it is podcast. And believe me when I tell you today's episode is going to get me some haters. I am ready and waiting and with the bag of popcorn. Let's go. And what we're talking about is the reason why no one's come for your business because of you. I mean, there was a nicer way to put that. But if you were literally sat there going, I can't get clients, I can't get a business, no one's coming to book me, I'm going to tell you now why it's probably your fault. And that hurts because a lot of the time people are going to give you the excuses. Oh, it's the economy, it's saturated, it's all the, yes, they are potential reasons. But most of the time when I'm in these Facebook groups and I've spent a lot of time looking through them and helping people, it is basically because of something they haven't done or aren't doing. So let's talk about it because buckle in. We're going to go deep and we're going to go hard. And there's a euphemism in that for you. So grab a snack, grab your security blanket, whatever you need. Let's go. Now, you are a business owner as much as you're a photographer. You chose to take your photography and turn it into a business. No one else told you to do it or made you do it. You decided ultimately. But being a great photographer does not automatically make you a great business owner. And I have in fact argued with people that most struggling photographers are out there who aren't bad at photography, and it's just because they're bad at business. They are literally pants it. They don't know what they're doing. They don't care. And they're like, or not that they don't care, they don't see the importance on it. They think somehow because they take a pretty picture, the client is going to show up and be like, oh my God, you're amazing. I want to work with you. So here's a common thing. They've ignored marketing. They've kind of guessed at their pricing and they'd spent more time doom scrolling and making Instagram reels, but having no clue who their reel should be aimed at or what even their monthly outgoings are. Photography might be your passion, but you've turned it into your job. So you need to start running it like a job. It's a goddamn business, not a hobby. If it was a hobby, keep it as a hobby. Don't run it as a business because guess what? Once you run it as a business, there's loads of legal implications as well. You don't just randomly open a cafe because you go, hey, I like drinking coffee without learning how to make said coffee, how to pay rent, do your taxes, because guess what? You'll be bankrupt in a week. So why are there photographers out there going, hey, I want to be a photographer. This is my career, and don't learn about actually the admin side? You want to build a business, you need to understand what the foundations of your business is. So you kind of got to know how to do all that before you can start shooting the pretty pictures, okay? In fact, I think photography has it round the other way. They think because they shoot a pretty picture, they can automatically get a business. No, you need to start learning about the business side. One of the things people come up with is that, I can't get clients. Well, guess what? No one cares. No one cares you're a photographer. Your mum and dad might, your dog might, your goldfish might, but no one else cares. Literally no one gives a damn that you're a photographer unless you make them care. I'm not saying you hold them at some sort of ransom and make them care, but they don't care. No one's going to run up to you on the street and beg you to shoot their wedding, their headshot, or their campaign. They're just not. That's not how it works. You have to make people care. And that means you have to look at marketing, networking, storytelling, the cliche showing up and posting consistently. Because people seem to think if they post a load of content, that's going to get them. No, it just annoys people. Consistently is very different to constantly, okay? So I'm saying to you, don't just randomly go ghost for a month and then post and wonder why no one cares. At least keep some sort of schedule that you're posting once a week, every couple of days, whatever it is. But if you are constantly bombarding people, they can get annoyed with you. It's all about balance, my darling. You won't know what that balance is unless you try it. But a good thing that the good rule of thumb is I will update my stories maybe once or twice a day if I'm working, maybe a bit more if I'm really busy. And then my main grid, I update maybe once, twice a week max. It's just how it's worked for me and it's doing good for me. Now, I don't have loads of followers, but I do have a lot of engagement on them. So I'm pretty cool. The other thing is, I don't care if you think you're going to be the next Annie Leibovitz because nobody else cares. And least of all does Annie Leibovitz care if you think you're going to be the next her. No one knows you exist. So you're not doing the time. So I don't care if you're amazing. If they don't know you exist, you're not getting booked. So you need to stop hiding behind your camera. And I'm going to tell you now, stop waiting for word of mouth to carry you. Because while I think it's cute that your clients are going to recommend you, you're going to put a hope and a prayer that this client that loved your work is randomly going to be in the vicinity of somebody else who values their opinion, who that time then needs a photographer, tells them they need a photographer, and they're going to go, yeah, I know this great photographer that did my headshots. Oh my God, that's so cool. I'll look them up. That is such a rare thing to happen. Also, I'll be blunt. If you're not marketing, you're hiding your work under about 10 bazillion photographers. Okay. And a lot of them are talking online, which is why they are getting the business. You need to understand that there is so much more to getting people to care about you than you posting a pretty picture. It is getting in the Facebook groups. It is talking to them, not selling your photography, but talk to them from a place of knowledge that you build a reputation. That is part of networking. When you post your pretty pictures, you're going to tell a little story about them. I've got a great example on my Facebook page right now where I talked about how I was in the drive-through and I got a call asking me, would you come and photograph a wedding for me? And I'm like, when? They're like, now. And I'm like, yeah. Did a U-turn out of the drive-through? I told that story. It's a story. People loved it. I got loads of engagement. It got shared in a couple of the other groups about how hilarious it was. People talked about how great I was, how I was a superhero. It got engagement. It also got me 2 bookings. So I'm just going to tell you now, don't go out there with outlandish things, but learn about how to tell a story with your work. Okay. There are so many places you can learn about storytelling. There's loads of stuff on YouTube about how to do storytelling. But what makes you connect to a brand or a business and just replicate that back. One of the other things I feel quite often is people say, I don't have the time. Well, you decided to make this a business. So did you not think you would have to allocate time somewhere to do marketing and to do the build up and to run the business? You just thought you were just going to be doing pretty pictures? Oh, okay, cool. Now, we do not all have the same 24 hours a day, right? We don't. 24 hours a day, we don't. I'm going to be really blunt. We don't. I know there was a famous influencer who said that. We don't. Some of us have huge demands on our life. Some of us are stay-at-home parents. Some of us are 9-to-5 workers, neurodivergent. We have so many pulls on our time. But the problem is you decided to make this a business. So you needed to understand the implications on your time. Now, you get to choose how often you work. You get to choose how much time you dedicate to this. But that doesn't mean you spend ages doom scrolling on TikTok. It doesn't mean you sit in Facebook groups complaining about how quiet it is, because the time you've taken to type that status out and read through the comments, you could have been in a Facebook group chatting to potential brides about help on their wedding day that builds you a reputation. It might not get you a direct booking, but it builds your reputation, okay? You need to spend time on the back end of your business more than even on the front. I'm going to be blunt. And in order to spend more time on the back end, you need to make sure the front pays well, which we're going to get onto money. But it all comes in a loop. You're starting to see how this works. There are people out there who carve out time. There are people who schedule, batch, outsource, do the ugly bits. They send it off, right? And I know outsourcing is a privilege financially to be able to do, which is why you understand that you need to make the front end, the shoots, pay more so you can outsource, okay? Meanwhile, those who are not doing it, they're sat in Facebook groups complaining that they can't get the work in. I mean, are you? And the common thing is they're not doing the marketing. They're not doing the back end. They're just sitting there going, I can't get a business. No one's coming to me. Their work's stunning. Their work's not so, but they're like, I can't get a business. You know why some of these terrible photographers get so much work? It's because they're constantly posting in Facebook groups. They're constantly shoving their work under people's noses. Now, that I have a love-hate with that, but at least they're doing something, which is more than what you're doing, okay? They're showing up. Whether we like them or not, they're showing up, okay? But I spoke about money just now. Let's talk about it, because we don't often talk about money. We're all like, I don't want to know. Oh, I'm scared. Sorry, I don't think any photographer sounds like that. You don't know your numbers. That's probably why you've got no money. Do you know how much it costs to do a shoot with you? Do you know? And then if you don't know exactly how much your expenses are to do a shoot, then why are you deciding how much you're charging people? You need to know what your cost of doing business is. CODB, which is Charlie, Oscar, Delta, Bravo, if you know your phonetics. Anyway, the reason that's just one of them. Like, you have to know your living expenses, because that's what your business has to pay. Your living expenses, your tax obligations, your profit margin. Believe me, we should all be turning a profit. Even HMRC website says you need to be turning a profit. The amount of people out there who are not turning a profit scares me. Like, they're like, I'm running at a deficit. Why? Okay. Now, I have a YouTube channel, which is a great plug, Khandie Photography on YouTube, which talks about the cost of doing business. There are many people who are not photographers talking about the cost of doing business. So go and watch those. Today, go and watch a video on that and understand if there are any costs you're missing. I have a spreadsheet that I put in every time I buy something for my business that makes my business run. So be it, I know, the rent for my studio, the paper backdrops I buy, all that is all put in there. And I work, and I know how long my paper backdrop is going to be, and I put the frequency it's going to be in for. And I literally work out my hourly rate, my day rate, my week rate, and my month rate. And every time bills from home go up, I whack them in this spreadsheet. So I know that's my obligation at home, that's my obligation to the business. So then I can actually start working out what my session charges should be. One of the ladies who came to me recently, she says, I charge £100 for a session. And I was like, okay, how long's the session? She said, oh, it's 2 hours. I'm like, it's 2 hours? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, what's wrong with that? And I'm like, how many images do they get? Oh, they get about 100. I was like, well, there's all your problems. If you're I didn't like, oh my God, like, I know this is an extreme example, but this happens so much. Okay. First of all, the main commodity are those digital images. That's where you're going to get the money from. You're already giving everything away for 100. You're giving away that many images. They're not even worth £1. Okay. She was like, what? I said, the work is not even worth, no, it's not worth £1. That's what you're telling your client. It is not worth £1. That's the mindset you've given them already. You're also like giving yourself loads of admin. On top of that, you have to travel. You've got editing time. How are you going to deliver those images? Oh, I use this software. And I'm like, well, that costs you a month to run. She's like, yeah. I said, so that needs to come off. Then you've got your tax implication. It turned out that if I ignored the fact how many images she was giving away, and they looked at it, she was making something like 12 quid out of that £100 for herself. I was like, you've worked all that time for 12 quid. And she was like, what? I said, that's your costs. And she was like, oh, but all the people around me do. I went, yeah, let them do that. Let them do that. You are not working, because she was there for 2 hours. She drove there and back for maybe half an hour. So 2.5 hours. Then she was editing at home for 3 hours. Like, suddenly we're at 5.5 hours and she's made 12 quid. How, like, make that make sense? So stop plucking numbers from the air. Run your numbers. Figure it out. Like, put it in a spreadsheet. Let the software tell you. Like, there are many ways you can learn this. You could listen to this podcast. You could take a course. You could watch my YouTube or other YouTubes. I don't know. But don't sit there crying that no one's booking you when you don't even know if your price point is sustainable. Honestly, it shocks me how people do this. I'm just going to break this small rant with a slurp of my decaf coffee. Okay, so let's talk about leveling up your work, which is, as someone who's just done an episode on gear shaming, which I believe is the episode just before this, I don't care if your gear sucks. Let's talk about your level of work. If you want to charge a premium rate, your portfolio needs to look like it's premium. I don't want it to have color, color spot. We have something red and everything's black and white. Fix it up, level it up, invest in it. It is part of it. If you can't invest in it, don't perhaps aim for the high rate. Do work that gets you the money and you need to get that stuff done. We don't all have a financial pot, but you can't start charging premium rates if it looks like you've shot everything on a potato. Okay, I don't care if you use a 10-year-old digital SLR. There are photographers out there shooting on entry-level kit, killing it because they understand styling, lighting, color grading, and direction. Most of your clients don't know what your camera is. They don't understand it. They just want to see the pictures at the end. If you are handing over grainy pictures that are not intentionally grainy, blurry that are not intentionally blurry, the color balance is off, whatever, that doesn't give a high-end spec. Okay, you can shoot with absolute trash stuff and still come out with amazing stuff. Okay, I saw a photographer in a group I'm part of who's shooting on a Nikon D90, which is an absolutely old entry-level camera, and the work was beautiful. As a fellow photographer, I could tell it was shot on a slightly different sensor, less quality, but the client didn't. And they had shared straight from their page, and the client was, oh my God, these are so amazing, these are stunning, wow, and all people were loving it. Okay, so the issue isn't that you have old kit, it's that you don't know how to do your job better. So I suggest, instead of just sitting here doom scrolling, go and sit on YouTube and watch about lighting and try it out. Okay, you don't have to go off to somebody and go, oh, I want to know the best lighting gear, I must buy all this gear. There are people who will do budget studio setups. I myself have one that's 150 quid. Is it 150? It might even be less. Where I did a single light setup to get a portrait session. Okay, there is an amazing YouTube series. It was done by Digital Rev. It's by Kaiway, and it's cheap camera pro photographer series. It's incredible, showing that pro photographers can pull off amazing work despite what they're given as equipment. I suggest you go look at that and refresh up. Now, I could say to you, oh, go buy my book right now. It's on Take the Effing Lens Cap Off on how to get your mojo back, and it's available on Amazon, but I'm not going to, although I definitely just have plugged it. What I am going to say is you need to think about what kind of imagery you're putting out. If you're constantly just shooting anything and everything, no one's really going to put you down as that person for that work. They're going to be like, oh, they're a bit of a hobbyist. We like specialties, okay? We like a little bit of specialty here. One, because it shows that you're learning and you're hyper-focused on one style. It means you're the go-to person. That doesn't mean you have to stay just in portraits. You could expand, but don't be out there shooting a dog one week, food the next week, and then a family photo the next week, and then, I don't know, a wedding that week, and then you're going back to sports for a week. Think about what it is, because you'll confuse your clients. And if more than anything, you need to kind of put it together. Also, I'm going to tell you, stop following the trends. Trends are cute, but once you've jumped on it, it's no longer a trend and you're dated. You need to start liking what you're shooting, okay? So think about, what do you want to appeal to? Is it, if you're doing, say, for example, you wanted to aim at the mummy and me market, yeah? Mums with their daughters, mums with their sons, whatever, right? You're like, okay, well, what imagery would they like? Emotional ones with their kids, probably. So start shooting stuff like that, because it starts creeping into them. Oh, they're the person. That's what I want. If you're aiming at the mummy and me market, and next thing you know, you're shooting, I don't know, racing cars, doesn't kind of fit into it, does it? So have a clear idea about what you want to do. Then you want to take those ideas and run with them. Style your own shoots, collaborate, shoot a little bit odd, get a little messy, tell the story, show the behind the scenes, because people will then start getting interested in you. And guess what? They'll start to care. Oh, okay, you're not growing because you're avoiding discomfort, which, yeah, I talked about this at the photo and video show. You can actually see that one. I think I put the audio up of me talking about it in here, so have a gander back at that. But you keep saying you want to grow and build your business, but you won't be anywhere. You won't get uncomfortable, and you like, people don't even know what you look like. You want more bookings, but you won't cold direct message people. You want to be seen, but you don't want to show your face. It's like, I want people to know I'm here, but I hide behind a logo. Oh my God, I want more bookings, but I don't want to reach out to customers who might be potentially looking for a photographer. Why can't you message 4 businesses today and offer your services as a photographer? Why not? What's going to happen? 4 of them will just decline you. Okay, move on to the next one. But you might get 1 booking. Make it make sense. You want it, but you're not doing it to get it. I mean, God, growth is uncomfortable. It is literally meant to be uncomfortable. Success is never found in your comfort zone. I talk about this. I preach about this. You know what? Failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is the pathway to success. I've said this in my speeches. I've said this till I'm going to go blue in the face. Just because something didn't work doesn't mean you can't slightly change it and try it again. You have got to pitch yourself. You've got to put your prices on your website, which I know is controversial, but I tell you what, it stops some of the most bizarre inquiries you get. Like, you know what? It helps weed out the people who are trying to find a cheap photographer. Yes, I can negotiate. I don't want to spend time negotiating. Those are my prices. That's my cost. I'm all for certain negotiations, but you know what? It stops people going, hi, I'm looking for a photographer on this day. How much are you for this? And then you have to reply back to them. That's time spent out doing admin. I can just stop that by putting my website prices up. And also it tells you what my charges are. So some people don't book me because she's out on my price range. That's fine. I don't mind that. I am not here to accommodate everybody. Do you think Harrods sits there and goes, I need to accommodate everybody? No, they don't. Do you think Lamborghini? No. Do you think Ford? No. It's just I consider myself a certain way with my business. My target audience is a certain target audience, and that's how I've engineered my business. Okay. I want you to start chasing invoices. Don't leave them lying. Enforce your contracts. Why are you scared to stand up for your work? I see people leaving money on the table because they're scared to tell someone, no, you can't do that. It's business, baby. I mean it. You are either ready for it or you're just playing pretend with your hobby. Which is it? You decide to have a business, so run it as a goddamn business. Why can't you go and tell someone, hey, you're late, you had 30 days. Now I'm going to add the percentage charge I'm allowed to under commercial payments under the UK law. I'm going to add this. Why are you scared? They failed, and yet you're running scared from them. I don't get it. Okay. You chose to have this as a business. Talk and treat it like a business. Okay. So I've written it for ages. Okay. So you're like, okay, Khandie, great. Thanks. You've really upset me now. What should I do? Well, you have homework. You're going to audit your time. Where are you wasting it? Where are you spending a lot more than you should? Do you find yourself editing and then watching Netflix? That's calling myself out. I can see myself. I'm currently watching, is it George Gently? I don't know why. And I'll find myself editing and then looking at it. And I'm realizing my editing time is extended because I'm now engrossed in watching Netflix. So I switched to podcasts. I found that I can listen while I'm editing, and it definitely feels a lot better. I'm becoming a better photographer in my time because I'm switching from Netflix. Now, I love a Netflix. It keeps me going. But for me, podcasts are less distracting. You're going to look at keeping your costs down and your prices up. Why can't you haggle prices? I do it all the time with Adobe. You know, they put the price up and I said to them, hey, I don't want to pay this price. And you were able to. Now, I'm not saying Adobe, don't hate on me. I love you to pieces. But, you know, in the UK, they whacked the price up massively and we're all like, whoa. And it really crept up, you know, but it's not just that. There are ways, you know, there are free software if you don't want to. There are multiple ways. I prefer Adobe because it's all in one place, but I know loads of people have DaVinci Resolve and all of this stuff. Go do it. Go. Why? Keep your costs down. Negotiate things. Buy things secondhand. I literally just bought a camera from Grays of Westminster secondhand. Saved me $400 on a brand new body, and it only literally been used less than, I think it was 500 shots on this camera. Ridiculous, right? Probably, like, it was absolutely pristine. Came with everything, and obviously Grays gave me a warranty on it. Like, what? Keep your costs down. And I want you to update your online presence. If your bio says something like aspiring photographer, delete it. Do you know your bios on social media can be SEO optimized, which does annoy me because that means search engine optimized again. But anyway, so you can use those and stop using that space to put emojis in. Put something that will drive people to you. And I'm going to tell you now, shove your face out there a bit more. Don't be afraid to speak to camera. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. So what? This is your business. They're going to meet you. They might as well get to know you via video. You've got to market consistently. And I know you don't feel like it, but weekly, sit down on a Sunday, whatever it is, and load it, schedule stuff, okay? Start doing it. Because honestly, the more you get into the schedule of scheduling, the easier it gets. It also means when you are having a busy day, there's still content going out. This is so important as a photographer in any business. Why are you not marketing? Marketing should be one of the biggest areas of your time. Honestly, it should be. Just get on it because people won't know who you are if you're not telling them who you are and what you're about. I'm going to ask that you start booking practice shoots in to build your portfolio. Experiment little, style them, direct them, post those videos, post behind the scenes. Do it because you might go, oh, I'm not doing anything. Oh, I'm busy. Do you know what? If you haven't got the content, go make the content. Do the photo shoot. I don't care if you're photographing a doll on a field. I don't care if you're photographing your cows. I don't care if you're photographing your morning coffee. Do something that you can put up there, okay? And even if it's not in your style and you're photographing a coffee cup, right? And you're into family portraits and you're like, oh, having a coffee is one of the best things in the morning just for the chaos of the family life begins. And put a swanky picture of a coffee up that you photographed, you know? I don't know. That's quite a nice idea, actually. You should run with that. Talk about it. Then you can say, hey, I shot this image in my house. This cup means so much. My daughter bought it for me. Whatever the story is, share it and post those pictures, not just on your phone, but even if it is on your phone, but a nicely styled picture that you've taken time to do. And I want you to invest in your education. Learn how to run a business and not just use Lightroom and Photoshop. I mean, run a business. And I would urge you to look beyond photographers. Because while it's cute, there are people who run businesses and help with business coaching beyond photographers. There's, you know, I get it. You want to come to us for help. And I'm very happy to offer help and guidance. And I have a few people that I've mentored in the past. But sometimes it really helps to come from someone who isn't a photographer. Because business is the same for every business, how to run it, okay? There's a few nuances here and there. But for the most part, they follow a similar framework. So you don't have to just learn from other photographers. And you need to start acting like the business owner you say you want to be. Like, act like that person. No apologies. No meekness. You're going to just act as a business. You're going to stand up for your right. You're going to stand up for your prices. And you're going to do that. And you're going to start networking and marketing and showing up. Showing up doesn't mean like, oh, here I am. Here's my face. Here I am everywhere. But get involved in conversations. Offer your opinions. Honestly, I have never enjoyed a personality that sits on the fence. I like people who have a very strong opinion and I can debate with them. Remember I said debate, not argue. I'm all for it. Why not? Why can't we talk about it? You know, think about how your business wants to be perceived and act like that. So here I am. Welcome. You've made it through. We're at the end. No one is coming to save your business but you. There is no mentor, no viral reel, no brand club, and no dream client that's going to save your business. It is entirely you, and it always has been. You are the reason your business works or doesn't. Okay, you. Can stop making excuses and let's start making moves. You chose to turn this fun, this hobby you had, into a business. So start treating it like a goddamn business. Okay, this has been The Loud Lens. I've been Khandie. You're probably hating me. I am your brutally honest, occasionally rude, always rooting for you though, host. If you've ever felt called out, good. Let's go do something about it. If this episode has given a slight wake-up call, I want you to rate, review, share it with another photographer who's stuck in their pretend business owner mode. I don't know if you do that. Marking time business. Until next time, show up, sell your work, and stop playing it small. It's been an absolute downright pleasure to be here with you. I hope you're okay. Follow me on all the socials. You can find me, and I look forward to seeing how great you do. I don't care if the market's saturated. I don't care if your neighbor is a photographer. What is unique is you. So make sure people get to know that, okay? And that could literally be by you showing your face, sharing a joke you like, or literally sharing a picture of your morning coffee, talking about a little story. Start small, it will grow, and people will come eventually. There is no quick fix to business, but if you start off on a rocky foundation, there is nothing but fallen brickwork awaiting you. So let's get our businesses working and are profitable. Take care, my darlings. I'm going to finish this coffee now before I head out.